decades later, after a restrictive statute of limitations in New York was modified. Many have recently enlisted legal counsel and are suing the Boy Scouts of America. Now, we should mention we reached out to the Boy Scouts of America for comment. This is what they said. We are outraged that there have been times when individuals took advantage of our programs to abuse innocent children. We believe victims. We support them. We pay for counseling by a provider of their choice, and we encourage them to come forward.
Beginning as early as the 1940s, Boy Scouts of America's own records show that more than 12,000 children were sexually assaulted while participating in the organization's programs. Scouts all over the country accuse Scout leaders for sexually assaulting them. The horrific events proved to be widespread when only 4 of 800 victims identified the same abuser. The case was accompanied by allegations that the BSA knew about the extent of the pedophilia but covered it up. After countless allegations were brought to the surface, confidential documents were found that show that the organization knew about the background of many of the perpetrators but failed to report them to families and take any action. The accusation of a cover-up protected Scout leaders who were possibly involved in the horrific events in order to protect their identity and create an appearance that the event was in fact less widespread than it seemed to be.
The Boy Scout scandal is very notorious for many reasons. A child abuse expert discovered that 12,254 boys had reported experience with sexual abuse at the hands of about 7,800 predators from 1944 to 2016. Not to mention, records with details on 231 Scout leaders being banned from Scouting for sexual misconduct from 1975 through 1984 were hidden from the public. Once the Boy Scouts filed for bankruptcy, all civil litigation against the organization was suspended and made it hard for victims of such a horrific action to come forward against the Boy Scouts. The scandal reveals to the public how far this organization would go in order to protect pedophiles. It made people question whether other situations like these could be going under our noses right now in the country.
During this scandal, the BSA had to make many reforms within its own institution. To reiterate, throughout the time period between 1965 to 1985, the Boy Scouts of America, also known as the BSA, being one of the largest youth organizations in the United States, consisted of approximately 2.7 million youth members and over 1 million adult volunteers. During this time period, they faced adversity with the allegations put against them. The BSA faced many predicaments with the problem of sexual abuse and had to deal with the allegations. After J.L. Tarr, a chief Scout executive in the 1980s, touched on the topic of sexual assault cases and later stated, "Sexual assault has been an issue since the Boy Scouts began." Consequently, in the 1980s, the BSA developed its Youth Protection Program, which is a thorough program to educate and prevent abuse for the future. A main component of the program is the 2 deep leadership criteria, which recipients that no adult is permitted to be alone with any members in the Scouts. In addition to the 2 deep leadership policy, the BSA implemented policies including no one-on-one contact, respect to privacy, separate accommodations, proper preparation for high-adventure activities, and more. The BSA utilized those policies to provide further obstacles to child abuse within Scouting. These policies were implemented for the protection of the youth members and additionally protect its adult leaders from false accusations of abuse. In addition to the BSA facing many implications with numerous lawsuits, people in society began to lose trust and faith towards the organization and seek justice. It was found that there are about 2.4 million children participating in Boy Scouting, and there is a high possibility that hundreds or even thousands of victims could file lawsuits alleging abuse. This would result in them demanding financial restitution to be profound.
There is no evidence or logical reason to dispute the sexual abuse cases that occurred within the Boy Scouts organization. Thousands of men have come out to the public about their horrific experiences as Boy Scouts, all with similar stories, making this one of the biggest sexual abuse scandals in history. A child abuse expert hired by the Boy Scout organization found that 12,254 boys have reported experiencing sexual abuse at the hands of at least 7,800 suspected assailants between 1944 and 2016, which is likely an underestimation. However, the Boy Scouts of America is still an incredible organization that teaches young boys character and leadership development and the importance of volunteering and getting lots of exercise. Through this organization, Boy Scouts become better citizens and grasp onto important values to live by. Yet it was the Boy Scouts organization that decided to hide multiple files relating to perversion called the P-Files back in the 1940s. If the organization had come out right away to the public about what had been going on, many sexual abuse cases could have been avoided.
The Boy Scout scandal revealed that our country will not tolerate sexual predators who take advantage of the innocent. The fact that this abuse existed for decades without any real progress being made to expose it shows that we have become increasingly intent upon finding and outing dangerous predators within our society.
After defending itself against hundreds of millions of dollars worth of lawsuits, the BSA had to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The BSA used the Chapter 11 bankruptcy process to offer appropriate compensation to all victims of the scandal. They poured money into the institution to ensure that the values of the new leaders of the BSA would be morally sound and just. However, they used some of the money to give to victims to ensure that they wouldn't file further lawsuits in the future. This was controversial because they were trying to hide further allegations by compensating victims. In the midst of the scandal, the BSA also saw a steady decrease in membership.
The lesson to be drawn from this is that large institutions like the Boy Scout Association, that you wouldn't doubt to be untrustful, often are, and sometimes empowered by the corrupt people in charge. Organization leaders should never sacrifice the safety of those whom they serve for any reason, and should also be constantly conscious of what is going on in their companies and institutions.